So, my name is Vineet. I work for Bharti Retail. I've been part of the group, Bharti group, for the last one year and a little more. Before that, primarily my experience has been throughout in retail. So, with Shoppers Stop and Hypercity as the retailers before this.
Thank you.
Yeah, hi friends, I'm Chandra, I'm from Luminous. And I'm with Luminous for 2.5 years. Prior to that, I was with Becton Dickinson, Seagram, and TEIL, and briefly with Excite as well. And my relationship with SAP is almost now 20 years plus. So that's it.
Okay. So we've been hearing about cloud for some time now, right? So there are some organizations which are adopting or experimenting with some cloud solutions. There are certain organizations which are still testing waters. So from your perspective, so Chandra, if I may start with you, so can you just tell us a little bit about your current IT landscape and how and where you have cloud in the landscape?
We use cloud initially. See, all the organizations probably around about 3 or 4 years back started thinking what should be moved to cloud and what should not be moved to cloud. So we took a call. We always follow a stage-wise approach in all our IT decision making. So we started with emailing, then we moved our data storage on cloud, then we moved our backups on cloud, then I moved my DR on cloud. So it was a very, very stage-based approach. Then we came to, okay, what next? Then we started moving our ancillary systems around our ERP, like for our secondary sales databases, my secondary service databases, we started moving to cloud. Post that, we said, okay, what's the next thing we can plan for? Then we started moving our bidding on cloud, and now we are evaluating the core ERP as well to be moved to cloud. So this is what we are following a very, very stage-based approach.
So I'll again come to you. You've adopted quite a bit of cloud in your journey so far. So how do you measure the ROI? So in the morning when we had the discussion around how does a CEO evaluate a particular IT proposal, so how does your organization or you evaluate the return of investment on cloud? If you can just go a little bit deeper on that.
Okay. So if we look at, say, something like an emailing kind of a thing, it is more towards the operational efficiency. There, I think it's a more the decision is more of a technical decision which IT guys need to take is OPEX versus CAPEX. So that is what we always kind of. I think we have been traditionally taking decisions on cloud primarily whether we should do a OPEX expense or we should do a CAPEX expense. So decisions were kind of around about 2 or 3 years back were kind of impacted with that. So that whether you look at on a emailing or you look at databases or a DR front. But I would say the game changer came like once we started looking at product like Ariba. There you can really see a value in terms of dollars. And we started using Ariba around about a year back, and I would say almost I would have drawn savings of 20 crores in 1 year. So you can, so that's phenomenal. That is phenomenal because cloud bringing efficiency on the table, helping IT guys to kind of spread their expenses from OPEX, from CAPEX to OPEX. And third, now there is a real value which is available. So I would see that we have, again, as I shared with you, we got with a shared kind of a stage approach. So in this last stage has really is given a lot of business value where we see real savings of 20 crores, that's a huge sum of money.
Interesting. So Vineet, if I may ask you to share your landscape first, and then maybe we can go to the next question.
Yeah. So it was very interesting to listen to him talk about so much of cloud adoption. So I'll just bring in a viewpoint here that it sometimes depends on how the organization looks at the whole IT spend. In the previous organizations where I worked, I don't know what was driving that, but it was always CAPEX. That was the lookout. They never wanted an OPEX model at all. Whenever we tried to bring it up, they were more CAPEX friendly, if I may use the word. Because of which, and because of most of us who are doing business for a large period of time, you have invested so much on the on-premise infrastructure that you tend to go a bit slow when it comes to cloud adoption. Whether it is hesitation or whatever, it actually does not happen for whatever reason. You keep doing small POCs and things that which you want to test, like you said, testing waters, but never a full-fledged adoption the way they have done. That's commendable. I mean, like, definitely that's, so the point that I want to make is sometimes it's very clear the business requirement and the lookout as to how they want to spend money on IT. The subsequent points that we're going to discuss on the hybrid cloud, that is where the real things turns out, because that's when suddenly the business, the enterprise has got a new way of adding on something onto the private onto a cloud and not moving anything in the physical premise. So a mix of premise versus the cloud adoption. So to answer your question and to sum it up is that right now in our landscape, even Bharti Retail or in the previous things, there were nothing on the cloud. Small things tried out, but nothing as major as done with Luminous.
So that brings a very interesting question is that, so although I agree that one of the topics that actually has an impact is how the organization views spend. So not just IT spend, but overall spend. So, but from a innovation agenda perspective, so do you think there is enough interest in the organization to explore some of these cloud solutions? You said you have done some tests here and there. So what drives those tests as well? Is it purely the IT team that drives it? Is it some business folks who find some interesting niche solutions and they want to try it out? And why does it not move outside of the CapEx, OpEx spend that we are talking about?
Perhaps I'll take the last one first. I think again, it's sometimes the business culture, because previously when I was with the Shoppers Stop and the Raheja group, it was always CapEx. It was that's how the company has been working. So you can suddenly turn it around to make them spend go an OpEx model. So they don't want to go that model. I'm more than me, perhaps the CFOs are better equipped to answer that question as to why not OpEx than CapEx. There's another part to that. I believe being in the retail space, you are always in the margin game, and when you are surviving with 4 to 5% margins in your business, you also again don't want to bring another component as an IT cost. Rather, you want to do a investment and then depreciate it over a period of time. So perhaps that answers the last question that you asked. The other part is, yes, if you just for the, I always believe that, I guess Vijay and Vinod also mentioned that once in a while, I think the CEO also mentioned that, is that there is nothing called IT projects. I mean, it always has to be a business project. So if you can't have IT projects. If it's an IT project, there is nothing. It never goes live. So yes, for the POC, there could be certain cases like somebody would come to me and say that we want to try from your team, could come back, try and say this is a new technology that's come on board, and we want to just do a proof of concept on the cloud. Those are very little. Anything that we tried on the cloud also were mostly business-driven stuff, where they wanted to try it out. Like long time initially when Salesforce had not even had an office in India, at Shoppers Stop we had tried a Salesforce.com implementation. That was a proof of concept. Did not go further because of the pure reason that Salesforce did not have an office in India at that time and was not able to support. Subsequently we went with Salesforce. So those kinds of proof of concept is what I mentioned, what I meant.
Interesting. So one of the things that people talk about when they talk about cloud is ease of deployment or speed of deployment and user experience and the ability to move fast. So out of these, I mean, what were probably the most critical or the most definitive thoughts when you went through your cloud adoption journey?
See, as I told you, once you always look at what are your priorities. So our journey started more with the more of primitive thoughts, like we have, the technology is changing very fast. So how should I invest? He has rightly said, being IT guys, we probably are not the right people to kind of decide on OpEx or CapEx. But generally it is organization, if they want to kind of show their profits, they would try to obviously put it into a CapEx so that they can spread it over a period of time. But from IT perspective, it's very important, if you're investing in a particular technology or a server, it's very difficult to scale it up. I'm saying you can't even judge the way we are talking about data growing. I'm sure none of us who are sitting here with, I am here with 20 years experience. You ask me what will be my data growth. I'm saying so we can do some rough calculations, but we don't know. So you can't commit on particular hardware and you will be stuck up. So as the first thing was, is it scalable? I think three S are very important: scalable, sustainable, and I would say it is saleable. Saleable is to your business, because your business is very important, because probably your business will come back to you and say, boss, I want to invest in CapEx. But being the CIOs in our organization or IT heads, it's very important. Am I able to support that technology for 3 years if I'm investing in it? If not, I think we have to kind of take a firm stand. So one thing is, deciding on the right kind of technology is important. So always it should not be something is needed by the business. Secondly is innovation is an essential part of it, because you're going and investing in a technology because it is innovative. You'll not invest in a primitive technology. Third is it supporting your future? Yes. So I think once you are able to take all these three things, so as far as technology perspective is, you close on that. Then there are a lot of, it's like I think my CEO say it's a buffet is there. So you need to pick and choose. So we thought, okay boss, emailing is done. Okay, my social networking is on Yammer. My entire document storage is there now on cloud. Okay, my DR moved on cloud. So is it making sense for me? Yes, it is making a lot of sense. So now if I see it, okay, e-bidding, yeah, here it's going to save me dollars. Okay, let's do every company does that. We also did a kind of a buyback kind of a agreement. We were not sure about the technology. We did for 6 months. The results were so amazing, 6 months. We were kind of fascinated and we expanded it across the business. So it is, as far as a technological decision is concerned, those decisions we can take easily. For any business related applications, we can take a window of experiment, and cloud will give you that kind of flexibility. If experiment does not work, you can always kind of take your steps back. But if the same thing was in case of you are investing in a particular technology and does not work, you need to kind of carry it till it's fully depreciated.
Okay, I'll add 2 points to that. One is, like he mentioned, sometimes the go-to-market also becomes very easy with cloud. So the time that you need to actually procure, bring it on, commission, all that just goes out of the window. You just have to just use something on the cloud and go live. So there are examples where we need a training solution, and e-learning platforms, and instead of going the whole way of investing on it, we just went on the cloud and took a small module from one of the providers and went live. So I could do that in something like 10 days. The content took some more time, but then 10 days is all that I need to close all the things up. So go-to-market becomes easy. The other part was, again, one of the good reasons for cloud adoption as we go is, as technologies become more and more sophisticated, and as you want more and more services that to come along with the technology, sometimes your teams are not able to keep up to pace, right? So the expertise cannot be built within, because they don't have enough. They won't have enough work. If you were to hire also, they won't have enough job to do after. Therefore, going the service way in such case also helps. So these two areas, I mean, obviously, other the big data and the consumer changes and all that is definitely driving the cloud adoption. But these two are also very critical here.
Interesting. So Chandar, now that you have a very hybrid environment, you have a lot of stuff on the cloud, a lot of stuff on premise. So what are the challenges that you face as a CIO to manage and maintain this kind of a hybrid environment?
The challenge is, see, ideally, if you ask me, my experience with cloud is so phenomenal up till now. I would like to move a lot of my other applications to cloud. But the challenge is, there are some of the hardware which I invested very recently. So this is always a debacle in our mind. It is still having a useful life for 3-4 years. So I need to see that more from a, I would say, financial management perspective. From a technical perspective is, I would say there is more of a challenge in terms of managing my existing on-premise hardware, because want of computing power and want of storage is always keeping a pressure. And he exactly said, this is the lead time of everything. Right now, I wanted, there was some solution which is on-premise. I wanted immediately storage to be in place, probably to take not less than 8 weeks to be available. So as far as the good thing is, now a lot of support partners around cloud are available. So that gives you a kind of flexibility. You can rely on those support partners to support you on those kind of applications. On-premise is one challenge is definitely there, whereby you need to do an integration part, because some of your data is lying on cloud, some of data is on-premise, and as I had suggested, my landscape is where I need to kind of have a single version of truth and a business warehouse. So there it becomes a little bit challenging in terms of getting the data structures right. So that's a challenge, but we are able to match it. But yes, definitely that's a challenge.
Okay. So if you were to start this journey again, or maybe if you want to start this journey now, so what are probably the 2 or 3 pointers that you would look as these are the 3 things that I should definitely be aware of if you were to restart the journey today, and maybe what are the 3 things that you are aware of when you want to start this journey now going forward? So if I may ask you, and then I'll open it up with for people to ask questions.
See, if I have to start this journey now, so probably if I was having this kind of information, if I have to start it today, always we IT guys look for what are the successes which are happening in industry so that we can replicate easily. Because it's very difficult for us because, to kind of a new technology which has been brought into the kind of arena, and we said let's invest in it. So one thing is, if I had to start my journey, so now there is already a lot of success which is available in industry. So I think my decision making would have been more. I invested in particular hardware on about 2 years back. If I was in the same situation today, I would not have ever done it. So one thing is a lot of successes which are available. Secondly, there is a lot of players and I would say options which are available. Once we started our cloud journey around about 3.5 years back, I saw very scanty players available. Today I see everyone, I'll say all the vendors we are working with are having their, whether it's a software or a hardware or any service is available as a SaaS model in term on cloud. So I would say now if I had to take my journey today, I would ideally like to put everything which is available on my, I would say landscape on cloud.
Interesting.
Yeah, so if I were to begin the journey, or if I were to just now get onto it, like you said, hindsight is always right. So you can, when you look back, you see a lot of things that you definitely would have done, like would not have done. So, because even now when I look at the infrastructure that we have for SAP, even now, sizing is such a big task, you don't even know. We just went through all kinds of science and logic to build the sizing, but we fell flat in 6 months' time. So that is such a big pain. So that would be one good reason for you to definitely look the cloud way. What will I look for? I'll definitely want to look at like I said, the lot of system integrators and partners out there who can help you. But I'll definitely look at somebody who can come on board and support us end to end. So when it comes, it's a very interesting part that it's not just a bit of just going and putting a storage or something on the cloud. It is the entire offering that comes with it. So we'll definitely want to look at people who can do an end-to-end offering. At the same time, you'll definitely want to also look at your office and the other infrastructure that comes with it. Because when you suddenly take things out into the cloud, your office infrastructure has to be completely different, in a very different picture. Otherwise, it won't work. So I would say that's the way I would go.
Okay. So we've had 2 very different takes on cloud adoption, which is what I see in the market as well. So people are either on this side of the spectrum or people are on the other side of the spectrum. There are very few people who are in the middle. So that's probably what makes this conversation more real for me. So I'll just open it up for questions before we kind of go for closures from the panelists. So any questions from anyone here?
Hello, my name is Kanchan Sarkar. I'm from HMEL, and my question is to Mr. Chandra. Any specific?
Your voice is not audible.
Yeah, please be louder.
Yeah. I'm Kanchan Sarkar from HMEL, and my question to Mr. Chandra is, any specific reason you went for mailing system to be put on cloud first?
It was giving me flexibility. What happens is, if you're having you're having a large force which is mobile, So it's very important to give them a same kind of experience. So once, it's a similar kind of experience, some guys are in remote areas also. And everyone's data needs are different. So manageability point of view, it was making a lot of sense. Because today, otherwise, I would have, different guys would have got different experience from, depending on their locations. Secondly, from management aspect, it was more, I would say, easy for me, because I could focus on other areas. Mailing is one thing is given nowadays. So you can understand, no one wants to use a brainer in that. So it was a proven technology, less of IT intervention, more flexibility available in hands of users, what he wants. Otherwise, he's dependent upon a mail administrator all the time. So I would say primarily, and a lot of other features along with that, whereby you have OneDrive kind of a thing available, whereby you can store data anywhere, anyone can access. You don't have limitation of 5 MB of file. We use social media like Yammer very effectively. That is our organization, Facebook. So a lot of things came as a kind of boutique for us.
Any concerns you had about the security?
No, concerns were not there once, because you go through the different, every cloud service provider is having certifications available nowadays. So I think they're probably more secure than us.
Thank you.
Interesting. So anyway, so there's, can someone get a mic here, please?
Yeah, hi. My name is RRP Sinha, and this is my third question of the day to Mr. Chandra.
We like you, sir.
Is there a prize for the number of questions?
Okay, thank you.
There's a lucky draw.
Okay, great. So my question is, you mentioned one disadvantage of going to cloud, that was integration. So I got a lot of advantage which you mentioned. Is there any other disadvantage of using cloud?
I did not use the word disadvantage. I said it's a challenge. So I think we need to distinguish between a disadvantage and a challenge. Whatever we do is challenging. So I did not use the word disadvantage. It's a challenge. So,
Okay, so what are the other challenges?
So primarily this is the only challenge which I feel is there, because he talked about today. If I was talking about yesteryears, once I took that call regarding cloud, a lot of other challenges were there which got addressed. I remember around about 4 years back, I wanted to move my HP hardware on cloud, and there was no vendor available to do that. So I'm saying, so these kind of challenges are available around about 4 years back. Today, if you ask me, I think the most of the challenges have been sorted out. It's more to do with organization culture also, because once we talk about, are you organizations ready to move their data, as he said, see, right now some organizations are kind of worried about, is my email confidential enough or not? Here you are talking about shifting your core systems to cloud. So it is more to do with
Mindset.
is mindset and the organizational culture as well. Being IT guys, our responsibility is to get the right technology at right price for the organization, and kind of bring in also I'll say change management in terms of culture also. That also is part of our responsibility. So again, this is a additional challenge depending upon the organizational culture.
Good afternoon. I'm Imran. My question to you, Mr. Chandra, is it's a two-part question. One is that since you moved most of your applications to cloud computing, has that led to scaling down of your existing IT team? That is one. Number two is, when a company like yours, which has moved all the applications again, does it change the nature in the way the existing in-house IT team works and all, if at all there is any change? I mean, so I'd like your comments on that.
See, in last 3 years, we have done almost, we have created 30 more applications, and we are working on lesser manpower, which we were working 3 years back. So that speaks all, because my number of users have increased by 500%, number of applications have increased by almost 400%, and the number of tickets which IT team is solving have also increased, but I am working on a lesser manpower, which I was there 3 years back. So that speaks about efficiency which is available.
Interesting. So is that a challenge in IT organizations, as to know, do organizations feel that, do people in the organizations feel that it is kind of taking away manpower in their organizations?
No, I don't think so, because he rightly mentioned that. So even if you're on premise, most of us would have given those services to a partner again. So it's actually not much different if you look at it. You would have given a data center and the whole services to manage services to some or the other partner. In-house, you won't have that level of expertise. But then yes, the moment you bring in cloud, like I said, there are so many other things that comes as a bouquet to you that it becomes easy for you to use that.
Okay. So there was someone who had a question here.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Sujit Saxena. I have a question for Mr. Chandra.
If you can just stand up because we can't see where you are.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, thank you. We can just sit.
My question is to Mr. Chandra. I think he mentioned that he's thinking on or working on moving application, ERP application to cloud as well. So I just wanted to understand what are the key parameters he is thinking as from business and IT perspective to be a decision maker to move to cloud.
ERP on cloud.
See, I told you the major decision if we moved into ERP was implemented in our organization almost 5 years back, and we refreshed our hardware around about 2.5 years back. So if I was in the same situation, so now my roadmap is probably to look at, because I have seen the journey of HANA as well, and I've seen many organizations who have already matured. So one thing is, I don't have that risk of doing a early mover kind of a thing on a technology which is not proven. Secondly, I would my useful life of my asset is, we take life of service almost around about 3.5 to 4 years. So my major decision would be dependent upon that. And the way I have to add on, since it was on-premise, every third or every fourth month, I have to kind of put in more and more storage or more and more computing power. So the reason being I would say, since I am going with a connected enterprise,
Interesting. So I have a question here as well. A lot of vendors have now adopted cloud first kind of a policy when they create new products and applications. So that also has a significant impact in terms of adoption of cloud as well, right? So a lot of customers are now forced to adopt cloud solutions because of the very fact that most of these solutions, most of the new functionality that is being built on the cloud.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's like, I'll try to draw a simile. It's like saying some of the e-commerce, platforms were only available on mobile and not on the web. Does that bring their sales down, or do they still manage the same amount of sales? So sometimes it helps because it helps drive the adoption, but I'm not very sure whether all their customers would be happy with that kind of a stand. It definitely helps. But again, it also depends upon what kind of solution you're talking about. If you're talking about a solution that actually needs to integrate with something else, again, like I said, it becomes a big problem if it's only available on the cloud, right? And rest of the applications are sitting somewhere else.
Yeah, someone had a question. Yeah.
Hello. This is Neeraj again from SAP. So my question is to Mr. Vineet. So I tend to agree with your statement when you say that business innovation projects tend to gain more traction in the company than IT-driven projects. I tend to agree to that statement. So in light of that, enterprise companies like SAP, we are also churning out new innovations in business process as part of our enhancement packages of ERPs every 6 months. Okay. Now, if companies need to adopt these innovations, they also need to adopt these innovations and adopt it in the landscape which needs an IT change anyway. So how often do you plan to do these changes on your IT landscape, which anyway is a cost? So if you have to have a business-driven innovation already in your landscape, there's an IT cost as well associated there. And this is where this cloud transformation journey can help you in that regard. Do you agree to my statement in this?
I agree with you 100%. So that's what I said. So like in the beginning when Mukesh asked me, I said the hybrid model, the hybrid cloud model suddenly brings in the best of both worlds for most of us, right? So people who are on the on-premise suddenly has an option to actually plug in something more on the cloud and try all this stuff. So I agree with you entirely.
Yeah. So just a second part to this, then am I safe to assume that the cloud transformation journey for a customer, why it might be difficult is only because of two reasons. One might be the cultural resistance, and the second might be the security concerns. I would tend to agree with maybe Chandar, when he said that yes, there are a lot of certifications already there and we are on a safe zone, but I'll say there might be security related concerns and there might be cultural resistance. Am I safe to assume that these are the two only reasons why a cloud transformation project?
It is, but not. I actually I agree with him 100%, saying most of these providers are more secure than all of us when it comes to premise. So security, I don't think is anymore a real concern when it comes to an offering, because they are either certified or you can have very clear MOA and SLAs with them, which this gets covered to a greater extent. It is yes, to a great extent has how the company want to operate, or whether you call it the culture, or whether you call it the financial model that the company loves to operate on, or whatever you want to call it. That is one. And the other, which I mentioned, is you need to really rethink on the entire infrastructure. I mean, sometimes you just put something on the cloud and your internet and your entire thing does not work, and you're not thought about it. So something very simple and very stupid things happen. So when we initially went on to a small, tried to use Salesforce long back, nobody thought, because the entire internet was coming through a proxy server, and that server was never so critical because it was only meant for internet and access of Google. Suddenly you had an enterprise application being routed through a box which was not even scaled to applicate that. So you could go wrong miserably if you're not thought through end to end, is what I meant. So I believe is a larger piece to address. First, obviously the financial model that the company wants to operate on. If that is very much there, I guess there's a whole lot of offering out there and partners out there who can help you out. You work with those guys and then already look at the end-to-end offering before you just want to. Don't do it for the sake of doing it.
Thank you. So someone had a question here.
Yeah. My name is Shashank, and I have a question with Mr. Chandar.
Can't see you. Wait, okay, yeah.
So congratulations, first of all, like you have moved a lot of things from your in-house premises to cloud environment. My question is to you, sir, like what kind of challenges you have faced to maintain the uptime of 100% connectivity for your field staff? And second thing is, like, how do you ensure to maintain the speed of internet or connectivity to open an attachment? Like we are facing a lot of call drops and a lot of connectivity and latency problems. And third thing is, suppose you have any dispute with your current cloud provider, how will you ensure to move your 100% data from one service provider to another? Thank you.
Are these concerns valid for a lot of other?
I'm sure he will have the answers to it, because these are all concerns, I guess, few years before.
Yeah.
Right? I think I'll let you speak because you're the best guy to talk about it.
These were the concerns, Ron, but he exactly said that, Ron, about 4 years back, these were concerns. Now, all the cloud service providers, earlier, it was a monopolistic situation. We were not having much of choices available. So now all these service providers are kind of privy to this kind of market reality. If today I'm not able to provide him the desired SLA, the agreed SLA, its interportability is always available. You can move out. That is why it's cloud. There is no dispute on. There is only the very reason you move on cloud is you have this flexibility available. So this is how you draft your agreement. One thing is very important. How your SLAs are done. Fine. And you exactly said that, okay, fine, today call draws are happening. You're absolutely right. So if you talk about I'll say last mile. So as far as applications are concerned, many of my applications are also working offline as well. So as soon as connectivity is available, like for my Salesforce or my service force team, they can work in offline. As soon as it attaches to network, it moves. So these kind of offline features are available in most of the applications nowadays. Now you have to be very, very careful. Once you enter into an agreement, you have to work on exit clauses and penalty clauses. That's a standard with any agreement we do with any service provider. But in cloud also, this carries the same, and I would say much more, focus attention. So anything you would like to add?
Yeah, so you're right. So you have to be very careful in your agreements and the termination as well as the how you want to move on. Like I said, if you look at it, if you are on the cloud, then and other thing which I also realized, Chandresh, when I'm more and more hearing you is, just like some of us who are on the on-premise model and are hesitant to move on, and that inertia, I guess the same thing applies once you have moved onto the cloud. I think the inertia is more to go back. I mean, you definitely want to stay in the cloud. So
Absolutely.
I guess there are more advantages than disadvantages when you're on the cloud.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a point for the panel. Okay, so the point is, no, if you talk about the cloud model, primarily there are two things which are of importance and the key benefits. One is if you have an elasticity of demand. So if you have elasticity in terms of the compute power which you would require across several months or during days of a month, then in that case a cloud model definitely has an edge. That is one. Second is usage of templatized standard solutions or applications. There also cloud has an advantage. But if you talk about stuff like ERP, particularly in countries like India, wherein there's a lot of customization which goes into the play, what we see as an organization, like we also within an organization, we have done much on cloud. Emails, yes, we have done. We have done storage. But as regards ERP is concerned, we've talked to several partners. What we have come to know is the economies of scale is not achievable because of the degree of customization which we would have done so far. So, and in fact, I think Mukesh would echo that we spoke in Waldorf also when we spoke to the SAP board. What we have come to know is even in the developed economies, adoption of cloud model for ERP is still evolving. It's still not as pervasive as usage of email and the stuff. So my key point here is maybe we need to look at a model wherein it could be an infrastructure as a service, but cannot be a solution as a service for ERPs. And we can have solutions which surround ERP, like you talked about Ariba. Yes, it's a cloud model, so to say. You can have Salesforce for that matter, but core ERP I think still is a challenge because you end up provisioning a very dedicated infra for your own self, which doesn't then give you the economies of scale. Any points around that? Maybe if you can share your opinion.
One size fits all is not true. We all know that. So therefore you may be right. You're right. So like which is what I answered to Mukesh also when he said, what if a product owner comes only with a SaaS model or a on-cloud model? So you're right. So you may want to have a very the customizations can perhaps lead you to those situations, and therefore an infrastructure as a service rather than a software as a service could be an option to go cloud. But I also see a twist to it as you see more and more products that come onto the market are more configurable, and therefore many of your customization needs are getting reduced as we see. So we went because when you said you are how many years did you work on SAP now? You said
20 years plus.
Yeah, so mine is just 1 year. So when we just implemented SAP recently in Bharti Retail, we just had what we call as 30 RICEFs. So that was nothing like, when we compare. So we did not need that many modifications. So that actually shows that the products are evolving, products are more configurable. And if that is the stage, perhaps even a SaaS model may work for most of us. But I perhaps believe, yes, maybe it is true that one size fits all is not true. So there could be possibilities that some may want to go the infrastructure as a service model than as a software as a service model.
Thank you. So someone else.
Yeah, I'm Rajiv from Fujitsu. My question for Chandra, see, R&D department is one of the important department for any manufacturing industry. So, and basically for R&D, there is a couple of application which is a very compute incentive or maybe data storage incentive. So what is your view for adoption of cloud for R&D division?
See, R&D is like a safe vault for any organization. So there, I would agree. This is one area which, as we talked about the change management, so I'm saying it's the culture of the organization. So if you ask me here, I do also have a challenge whereby kind of motivating these guys for using cloud for more on towards their data.
Yes.
So see, these guys are so careful, they don't keep anything in their laptops also. Let me admit that, because this is a challenge, and I'm working on this challenge. So I'll say that yes, you're exactly said that is a challenge for me as well.
Thanks.
So there's someone has a question there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Umesh has one.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Umesh Mehta. I'm from the Jubilant Group. Just want to know from the panelist, given a choice for enterprise applications, which one would you prefer, private or a public cloud, and why?
With an option, I would go hybrid, I guess. So, because when there is an option, why not use that? So it will be a combination of. I would rather go if it is just for enterprise applications.
I'm talking about one application.
A
For
single
example,
application.
you have to move your SAP. So whether you will move in private cloud or a public cloud.
So my experience has been purely on the private cloud bit. So I've not even looked at a public cloud for enterprise application right now. So perhaps private.
Reasons?
Reasons. Again, I started off saying that I've been in enterprises where it was more investment and capex models that went on because of which you invested on infrastructure on premise. Okay, so therefore in this current, I see the psyche more towards wanting to be more enclosed and therefore private is how I see it.
So is it your past experience? which
Past
says
and
that,
even
okay,
present ones.
Okay. How about you, Chandar?
See, Umesh, this is totally.
One more thing, because they are the service provider also, the connectivity service provider. They don't take the guarantee of 90%, even 90% connectivity. Airtel don't take the guarantee of 90% connectivity. Even you cannot run a single software in the cloud without the connectivity.
Yeah.
Airtel failed many times.
But we have a choice. Yeah, so as Bharti Retail, I had a choice to go with any. I was not bound to work with Airtel.
Bharti is one of the best service provider, even though they don't take the guarantee of 90% connectivity in the remote areas. If you take any of the manufacturing unit, they are settled in the remote areas.
So you're saying the connectivity
Connectivity
is
is the
biggest
major
reason
issue
why.
for the cloud.
Okay, fine.
Even though the bandwidth choking is the major issue. You are sitting in metro, you can do anything. You cannot run a single application. Because most of the manufacturing plants are remote. Even though remote connectivity is not available since last 10 years. If you go into the Odisha side, you cannot take the internet connectivity even. BSNL is not able to provide it.
Yeah, so that's a universal
So
problem.
the cloud,
That's a larger problem.
sustainability of the cloud is not possible.
Yeah.
See, it is okay. I would answer his question as well. I would say he's exactly, I think, pinpointed the pain of many IT guys regarding having
I will give you an example. If you have your mother in your house, or if you have a daughter in your house, ask them what they will eat and who will cook. Your daughter will say, go to the market and take it. Your mother will say, I will cook, take it. So there is a culture, the how experience and knowledge you have in your hand. If you are quite expertise doing the things, you can put it in-house the system. They are more cheaper than the cloud.
See, you have to get your basics right. You can't compromise on your last mile connectivity, is fine. And it is one of the scales of operation also. The challenges which you are saying, when I joined my organization 2.5 years back, there was a single connectivity available in a remote plant. I worked with Tata. I set up their own POPs. I paid money to set them, and probably even if I'm the only customer, because I have to run my business. I have to motivate the top manager of Tata to set up POPs for me. I worked with Airtel. I don't rely on single vendor. I work with all the ISPs. I am saying my business is so critical, I can't rely. You're absolutely right. Whatever they're writing on piece of paper, you will not going to fight. Suppose the production is impacted, because you can fight later on. But you need to get first you have to, if you talk about cloud computing, fog computing, everything, but I'm saying you cannot compromise on your last miles and your basic infrastructure. I'm saying, so you need to kind of focus. So there is no replacement of whether you are on-premise or this. So even if you're running it on-premise, your guys need to connect to your in-house data center and operate. So I'm saying the important part is, you're absolutely right, last mile is a paramount. So I'm saying we need to see that what are the different kind of backup arrangements we need to put in to do that. And so I think this is important.
Even if you want to extend your hardware, whenever you are installing or you are thinking any of the enterprise solution, you have to look into for 10 years, 5-year refreshment. So the scalability is always there. Either you go for IBM or HP. Now the systems are, hybrid systems are there, the virtual concepts are there. You can put on add-on servers. So
It is there.
if you're talking about the memory or the hard secondary storage, other thing.
It is there. So that's what I'm saying. But does it give you a flexibility? I'm saying it is today. If I have invested in a technology, I'm saying does it give you? I'm saying the way business is growing, they want something to be done in 5 days.
Yeah. So
you will not be able to do
the
that.
market is not possible.
I'm telling you, you will not be able to do that. The way business is demanding is, boss, I'm going to launch this campaign for this, provide application for my dealers, host it, and 2,000 dealers will be doing it. I'm telling you, we struggle with that.
And that too, if it is only mounted for a period of time.
Yeah, that
So
also there.
I need that compute for a spike, and then I don't want it. So those are the advantages. if you want.
So if you may come back to Umesh's question.
Umesh's question.
If you have to
Private or public?
moving to cloud is a given. So would you prefer a private cloud or a public cloud?
See, this question is as difficult as to be married or not to be married. So Umesh is a smart guy. That's why he's asking all the difficult questions. So Umesh, it is exactly dependent upon organizational mindsets. There are 3 or 4 checkpoints. There is no single answer to this. Organizational mindset. Secondly, your internal IT team maturity. Third is your confidence on the service provider. Fourth is the kind of SLAs he's willing to enter with you. So I am saying these 4 parameters are important once you take a call, whether you want to move it to a public or a private. If I am able to get all these ticked in my favor, I won't mind going into public.
So else it will be private.
Interesting. So maybe last 2 questions. So one question there. And
So just have 3 questions there, like which could be interacted. One is when you moved on to cloud, when you said that it will be a return of investment, and what was the transformation for the end users in the business? Did they accept it well, and how has it gone so far? And what were the shortcomings which you saw?
So let me rephrase this question for you. So this was something that I wanted to ask as well, which is, there is a perception that has been created that cloud applications are much easier to use and have much higher adoption. So is there reality in that perception?
Do you want me to answer? Okay. So if you ask me, for user it does not matter. For an end user, if you ask me, at least 40 to 50% of my user will not be aware, or 60% whether I am on cloud or this. Certain things are given for them. Certain things are ease of use, availability, and kind of scalability. Today, he wants, okay, I need to increase my size of my mailbox to 30 GB. I want to kind of send a mail till 10 MB. So I'm saying these certain things are given. So from a user perspective, if you ask me, certain things are how you can enhance your end user experience. So whereby I have not kind of faced any challenge as far as cloud is concerned. And if you talk about on-premise also, a lot of things are possible, but it increases manageability at my end. And my time to respond to him is much longer than certain things which can happen, and the control is in his own hands. So I would say more on the, manageability aspect, I have seen this challenge.
Anything on the innovation side, like which you saw falling apart after going onto the cloud? Like it was more in on-premise and now it's reduced.
Innovation comes in kind of technology you put in. See, for end user, the more and more features you can build on it. For innovation for us is more like a brick and mortar thing. Boss, my responsibility is to give 100% uptime and to a user. So now, if you talk about innovation, aspects come a lot in terms of, I would say, the kind of applications which are available. I'm saying the guy is able to, today my on-field staff, if he's going there, is able to kind of put all their expenses without coming to office, and all approvals are happening. It is an innovation for him. So you need to define how do you kind of put in innovation. So small kind of applications which are kind of creating your internal user satisfaction is an innovation. So innovation is not necessarily what your R&D is doing, or in IT, if I moved from virtualized base to cloud, then cloud to I come to fog, then I look for something else. So it's more like how you enhance your user experience with, I would say, cost advantage coming to organization.
Okay, thank you. So in the interest of time, I'd like to ask maybe to both of you to sum up each one of your positions, and then maybe we can break for lunch then. So if I may ask you.
So if I can start off, like I said, yes, we are, the landscape-wise, we are not in the cloud. We are very much on the on-premise scenario or in a private cloud scenario more. I believe, yes, the cloud adoption and the hybrid cloud adoption is going to be really taking up speed in the next, I believe it's going to double, triple in the next in the next 4-5 years, because it is coming from basic requirements where the, if I want to call it external factors, because of the big data, because of the way, like I said, the technology is evolving, more sophisticated technology coming on fold, and you don't want to really have too many skills within your team. You're not able to scale it up that way, and all that put together, it becomes a good model to adopt and go the cloud way. People, like we discussed, need to be careful before we do that. If you're already not in this space, you definitely want to look at so many other parameters, like the gentleman mentioned about the last mile connectivity, and we also discussed the SLAs, the agreements that you get into, and you also want to select your partner very carefully, like I said, whether they have an end-to-end offering available to you, so that you have one person to go to for your. So therefore, yes, yes, definitely something that everybody will move to, but you'll want to look at various factors before you want to take it up. Again, like I said, it also depends a lot on the company culture and other way you want to do it.
Thank you.
I would suggest, with my own experiences, take a very, if you have not already ventured into cloud, take a very calculated and staged approach, rather than kind of see a lot of technical buzz keeps on happening around us. Some people will say, okay, I have moved this to cloud, I moved this. So don't be pressurized with what people are doing. Do what makes sense for you. So I'm saying, as an IT person, I see that I should have flexibility in my hand. I should have least manageability, I should be more value added towards the business approach. So I see, if you are kind of resistant towards doing it, probably you can look at emailing right now, then look at ancillary applications around it. As Atul rightly pointed out, a lot of organizations are still not sure about what kind of flexibilities would be available around ERP. That's definitely a challenge. But I'm sure, as he rightly said, organizations, because I had seen SAP 3.1 HR3, so I've seen how the journey has been now, and SAP is not that rigid, it's still rigid. So hopefully we would see more developments happening around it. So, but let's take small steps. Let's not take a big leap, because certain times you try to follow what other companies are doing, you might not get it right. So this would be my suggestion.
So if I may sum up, I think based on what we have had discussion here, and we had a similar discussion in Bangalore in the regional conference in South, I think a lot of organizations which are adopting cloud solutions are adopting at the fringes. So whether it is moving their Salesforce applications to the cloud, whether it is moving their dealer management to the cloud, whether it is moving their employees to the cloud, to managing your suppliers and vendors to the cloud. And then once you test waters, that's when probably you build some amount of confidence among your IT team as well and among your organization as well, which actually then gives you the opportunity to take a slightly bigger bet on the cloud. And as you go along, the bets become bigger and bigger. Some have done this already to a significant extent. Some are just starting on the journey. But one thing that I have learned both at the annual conference, at the South conference, and here is that at some point in time, most of the organization will actually end up going through this route. So thanks a lot for spending time with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.